Hello everyone, welcome to this session. I'm pleased to introduce Jacklyn Agor. Jacklyn Agor is a digital strategy leader, music executive, mom boss, and the founder of Puppet Master Marketing. From collecting data for Sony Pictures, Disney, and DreamWorks at Nielsen Entertainment to creating data-driven experiences and campaigns for Taylor Swift, the Rolling Stones, and Coachella with AAG, she has proven that knowing how to speak to your customer is the best way to get them to take action. She will be presenting a talk titled Don't Talk Data to Me. Please join me in welcoming Jacklyn.
Testing, testing. Hello. Can you hear me now? Awesome. So a little bit about me, the way that I got into data. I moved to LA because I wanted to be a rock star. Of course, half of you probably wanted to also. I was working at Universal Music when I found out that there was a Red Hot Chili Peppers concert that I missed. So how come I followed them on Facebook, I'm on their email list, and I didn't even receive any notification about it? So I found out that Facebook has these algorithms where if they don't post all the time, I'm not going to see any of their posts about their shows, which really sucks. Email, if you don't know how to get into the inbox, it doesn't matter how great your marketing is, if no one sees it, it's practically a waste of money. And then I started to learn how to do email marketing, and I don't know if you guys have ever used ad spends, but you spend thousands, sometimes millions of dollars a month, and email marketing is the only channel where it's 40 to 1 return. For every penny that you spend, you're making about $40. So when I first started at AEG doing email marketing, I was a database coordinator, and I had no idea what data really was, but I just wanted to work for Coachella and the Rolling Stones, and it was really cool. I learned about technology. I don't know if you guys are familiar with some of the things that AEG is working on. If you have the app, let's say you're at Coachella, and you saw this artist before, but you haven't seen him again, how can we send you a message to your app telling you, hey, want 25% off of last year's shirt? Come and buy one shirt today and get more. So we would use all of that data and make the show more rock and roll. We even had some that was less high-tech technology, where, I don't know if you guys have heard of Desert Trip. It's like Coachella, but it was old cello. When your demographic suddenly changes from 25-year-olds to 55-year-olds, it changes everything. On Sundays, you can send emails and people will shop. You can charge $20 because the parking lot in India is so far from the stage. If you've ever been before, it's like 2 miles in the sun. So you can charge them $20 and they'll gladly pay it for a golf cart to get over there. So I started learning all these different ways to learn technology, and then it's all powered by data. And I finally had the realization that the music industry was going to be saved by data and technology. Everyone says it's dead, but data is going to move into the next level. And I use the MarTech Manifesto. So MarTech is basically the combination of marketing tools, technology, and management. There's very few people who actually know how to integrate all of them. I'm sure you guys have heard of digital transformations, right? You got your data is what's powering these transformations. But if you can't get your point across and get upper management to give you the green light, you're basically working in a hole. So since it's up to you to power the digital transformation at your companies, how can you get that across to upper management? Have you ever had an epiphany and you tell them, look what I found. I dug through data for 8 months just so that I can line everything up together, and they don't see what you see. You put it on the board, 1 + 1, and you're proud, and you go, oh, 11, great. It gets really frustrating. And after many, many years, I found out that the way to get people to harness data and technology was to keep data out of it. Don't talk data to me. If you can leave it completely out and save it for your appendix instead, a lot of people will start to say yes to you. So right now, 21% of companies say that they're already done with their digital transformation. But this isn't possible. As we have new technologies coming out, there's no way for you to actually be done with the transformation. They say that 75% of these are actually failures. But is it really a failure? Or is that just how technology works? You're setting everything up to be optimized for the way your people work, the way your processes are. People, process, and your business objectives. So even though people think that they're failures, it's usually because you didn't communicate with them well enough on what your project was going to entail. A lot of people call it digital transformation, and we're going to change the entire scope of the business. Everything will be online. You can work from home. We're going to cut our work time in half. But to think that you can actually pull that off in a year, and most of these companies thought that they completed their digital transformation in 3 months, we know that that's actually not true. So how can you get your audience to say yes? Instead of being so data rich and insight poor, you need to actually sell. So I know most of us did go to business school, but we were like the data geeks in the back. So how do you sell? There's stuff missing, okay. The best way to sell is through emotional selling. If you can connect with your audience one-to-one, that's when you really start to get people to move forward. You want to find out, what's the reason you want a digital transformation? He just wants to go home earlier. He really doesn't care. Or you'd like to take this process that you've been doing thousands and thousands of times and try to automate it. So the way that you sell it to each person is going to be completely different. And you want to find what part of your transformation you can roll out first. And I highly recommend actually going for the things that are the easiest, the lowest hanging fruit, even though there are so many bigger things to tackle when you're doing agile marketing or technology. You need to make sure that they see an improvement soon. Because if it takes 3 to 6 months, which sometimes it does if you're just digging in data lakes that you've never been in before, it can be very tedious. So you keep them occupied with some of the lower hanging fruit. So we're going to focus a little bit on people because we want to be one-to-one. And if you're doing B2C marketing, you want to make sure that you go for personas. Maybe you're not on that level yet where you're one-to-one, but actually this is DataCon, right? So you guys are already working with artificial intelligence, predictive learning. But to get these points across, you need to find out what each of them wants and how you can help them out. So electricity, he thinks that he has to work too hard. He cannot wait for everything to be automated. He's been asking for this the whole time. So you would recommend that maybe you could, here are 5 tasks that he can complete. Ask him, which one do you think would be best? Try to get him on board, and then you want to highlight any of the progress that you have. Helena Handbag, she's not sure what her role is going to be. If at any time someone says, I'm not sure what I'm supposed to be doing, or how is this going to change the way that I work or how the company works, you need to make sure that that's communicated first. You can have a hub, a newsletter will work sometimes. Have you ever had a project going on in your company that you had no idea was going on? Or you don't even know that the company is going to be sold. It gets really old. You just have to let everybody know what's happening. Jacklyn Hyde is a copywriter. She doesn't understand why things have to change. So when you start to hit people who are resistant to the change, the best things to do are just to leave them alone for now. Divide and conquer. You can not attack, but you can gain allies everywhere in the company and get them last. An algorithm. No? Okay. He's worried that he's going to lose his job. A lot of people, they hear that, oh, automation is coming, data, technology, I don't know what I'm doing. How am I going to fit into the project? The more people that you involve, the more likely that your transformation is actually going to have success. So some of the ways that you can do that is divide and conquer. If you have the opportunity to meet everyone ahead of time, even if you're doing B2B, if you meet them on the phone, look them up on LinkedIn, what do they like? You can usually find out what their love language is, how you're going to talk to them, or if they're the kind of people who like to raise their hand and cut you off all throughout the day, maybe you bring some donuts so they have their mouths full and they can't talk and interrupt you. Maybe you bring a couple six-packs so your data and your presentation starts to look a little bit better. But always address their fears and show them that it's really not a problem. You don't want to belittle it, but we don't want to have people working in fear because it ends up dividing everyone instead of uniting them, which is what you need. So one of the best ways that you can make sure that you stay on track instead of going all off topic is to do reverse engineering. So you can start with the goal and then find out where you're starting from. I have this great idea, I have this data that supports it. How am I going to pitch to C-suite that this is the direction that we need to go in? Give me $5 million. The way that you do it is you have to get them to all like it. So how do you get them to like it? It depends on the person, and we're moving back. That will help you choose the data that you're going to present to them, and it helps you keep on focus. Who here has worked on a project and then you're pulled off in 50 other directions, and then you realize this has nothing to do with the original project at hand? And when you're doing the reverse engineering, you want to make sure that you're not selling them your goal. It's really hard, especially for creative people, to go, we can do a complete transformation. We could have their emails with recommending all of the products that we are going to sell. But you have to remember that you have to go towards their vision. Let's say I work in a restaurant, and he asks to have the lights replaced. You want him to upgrade his lights. How are you going to do that? You just say, oh man, these lights have copper aluminum. They shine at 340 watts. The way that you do it is you actually sell him his vision. So how long have you owned this restaurant? Man, so blue skies. What would you like to have if you could have anything come true? All your dreams come true. He's like, oh man, I want to turn it into a venue like with a little jazz spot. Oh man, we have the perfect lights for that. Imagine this brass lights hanging down, the band's playing in the background. Your story should paint the picture for what you're trying to sell and not the actual product that you're trying to sell. One moment. So how not to be creepy? A lot of times we find data, we hand it over to marketing, and we were told by IT that we have to use this information, so they literally take the info and they put it into whatever campaigns they're doing. One of the creepy ones that I've seen, I submitted is anyone here from Tyco Toys? No? Okay. I submitted my email when my son was 2 years old, trying to find, what kind of toys they had available, if they had any coupons or discounts, and I received no emails or anything for 5 years. And then 5 years later, they said, we believe that your 2-year-old son, Lorenzo, would like this toy. And I was like, what? It's inappropriate. It's poor use of data. And if you knew how to extract that data, you couldn't add on 5 years from my sign-up date if I gave you his birthday. Other forms of creepy marketing. People shouldn't stalk you all the time. Should you be followed? If you're not able to do it in real life, if it's illegal or it's creepy to stand next to someone and follow them around all day long, you probably shouldn't do it in real life. So anytime you're not sure if the data I'm going to use is appropriate, you want to test your customer experience. Would I want my mom or my daughter to go through this? Would you want someone to follow them around at school, on billboards, inside of the mall saying, hey, Jennifer, are you ready to buy? I know you clicked on that yellow shirt last week. It gets really creepy. So we're going to go through some of these other creepy ways of marketing and how you can avoid that. So Smart Insights actually did a study to find out what is it about marketing that people find creepy. And making people aware that you have their data is probably one of the most uncomfortable things. I give my email away so that I can get coupons because I like free Grand Slams at Denny's, and I like getting VIP upgrades at the Staples Center. But it does come at a price. And you know that they're selling your information or using it internally when suddenly the WNBA is like, hey, we know that you went to this seat, to this show. You sat in the third row and you also had some popcorn. Well, we'll give you your popcorn for free if you and your son come back. It gets creepy. I know I gave you that information. That doesn't mean that you need to use it in that fashion. Let's see. I wasn't told how brands planned on using my data. So is anyone familiar with GDPR? Has it made your lives really, really fun? So GDPR is coming to the US, so if you haven't learned it yet, and California, it'll actually be rolled out here in California before anywhere else, you should probably get started on it now. Especially if you have a larger company, there are certain rules that if people are on your site, they need to know that you're actually collecting their information, what they're collecting, what type of advertisements they'll be receiving, and if you plan on giving it to anyone else. A lot of companies, in order to prepare for this, like Facebook, you can actually click on your profile and see what data is this company using on me. Why on earth are they showing me the same ad for 3 days in a row every 5 minutes? And it's also really poor when you're unaware of your data being tracked. A lot of times, smaller businesses will collect that information, and I've even heard it with a lot of the smaller businesses that I've worked with. They're like, oh, we're not big, it doesn't matter. Consent is actually very important. You have even bigger companies like Papa John's, who was sending out text messages during the Super Bowl, who almost got bankrupted because they didn't get the correct opt-in. So it's very important that you give people the right to walk away. If you're on a date, do you have the right to look in their purse or look in their wallet and find out any of that personal information? No. Wouldn't do it in real life? Skip it in your marketing. For stalker ads, there's actually a lot of data that you guys could be using, so you could be helping out your marketers. A lot of marketers are actually given incentives to grow their company. So I can get you 5 million followers on Facebook or on Instagram, but how are they doing it? They're spamming the heck out of everyone. They said that 22% of customers who feel that their data was being used incorrectly will leave that company forever. 22%. That's usually at the same rate or more as your retention program. So everything you're doing for retention, your loyalty program, at Starbucks, buy 50,000 drinks and you get a free shot of espresso. It's all going backwards because you're not using their data correctly. And it's really so easy to do. As the analysts, you guys can actually tell, okay, so these people who clicked on the ads or the people who didn't, how many times did they view this? And a lot of times marketers don't want to tell that, well, this person viewed our ad 152 times in the last 7 days. Not because they wanted to, it's because they couldn't opt out. There's no way for you to stop it. So the ways that you guys can stop is make sure that your marketers are not doing this. Some of the other ways you can use the same exact information is to create personalized content. So if someone clicks on that yellow sweater, you can say, hey, here's 12 ways that you can wear your sweater. Here's all of the greatest sweaters for the fall season. Or, hey, who wore it best? You also want to provide humanized product recommendations. You don't want to say, you clicked on this, so you'll probably buy this. You can say, hey, your friends like this. Most people who buy this, Amazon is really good about saying, oh, people who bought this most likely bought this, and this one is on sale. When you have the propensity to purchase or someone's visited your site multiple times, maybe you want to close that deal, offer a buy one, get one free. Some type of promotion that will close the deal without seeming like a stalker. One of my favorite tests for personalization is Netflix. Who has a Netflix account? Everybody. So Netflix will take the same exact movie, and their software will only see this. This is how it used to be. All it knows is that you're a Trekkie. You also watch Stranger Things, and you like The Crown. No, Marvel. Yeah, that's cooler. You're watching all of these movies, and it tries to find, okay, this person just spends 3 to 4 hours clicking to find what show they're going to watch. How can we get them to stop clicking? So they actually started to compare the graphics on for the movies. So if you like the way that this looked and you like this look, they have a tendency to click on movies that have the person's face in the very front, or it has red lettering on it because they watch nothing but scary movies. And they started to do multi-arm testing, where they would see, is this actually working? And after many, many, many tests, most shows that come out now have 9 images that you have a chance to see. So even though I'm accessing my account at my mom's house and I'm logging in, it knows that, oh, they're probably watching together, and it will even splice our information so that they're probably going to like this. Usually when they're together, they like to watch romantic comedies. It's invasive when you think about it and when you know about it, but the part that's so beautiful about Netflix is, did you know it was happening? You didn't. Does it help you not spend 45 minutes trying to pick what show you're going to watch just so you can watch Friends again? It's a lot more helpful. The only time when it's okay to be creepy, again, it's a Netflix movie, they said, we're going to tweet out your friend's name of someone, actually tweet out someone's name that you hate. If you can get more people to like on it, we will create a video of them dying by a bee sting. So they're being attacked by bees, and you think, wow, that's really wrong, but I kind of want to see what happens. So is that great for your company? If you're a publicly traded company, I recommend that you don't do that. You will get fired. But if you're trying to break the noise, if you are trying to find new audiences, that's a great way to do it. That's the only time you want to be creepy. It's when you're actually intending to do so. We're watching you. So I got a call from, I'll change their name to XYZ Solutions. And I noticed that you visited our site 3 times, 2 times yesterday, and once again this morning at 3:23 a.m. Is there something that I can help you with? No, dude. Now I don't even want to visit your site. I know you're watching me, but you don't have to tell me exactly what I'm doing. And like I know I clicked on that ad. I know I'm supposed to be on Weight Watchers, but Pizza Hut is $9.99 today. Just because people are giving you that information doesn't mean that you should be using it in an invasive way. If you're going to be a salesman, actually learn how to sell. Hey, I noticed that you were clicking on this. Did you know that today we actually have a promotion that if you purchase this software, that we will install it and your onboarding is free? Things that you probably were going to throw in anyways. It's better to upsell and cross-sell. So some of the things that you could be doing with your data is for only $20 more instead of the iPhone. We have so many iPhones, I forget which one we're on. XR for the iX50. You can upgrade today. It's only $20 more. But they don't realize that it's $20 more per line. Plus, you're paying all of the subscription fees. Plus all the taxes. I just raised your bill $120. Your LTV goes up. Your boss is happy. Poor customers, if they know about it. Most of them are usually happy with the upgrade. Free shipping on purchases. If they have something in their cart and it's $294, hey, free shipping for any order over $300. And you know there's never anything on that site. That's only going to fill that $5. Now you've increased your LTV, and you have a chance to upsell. Maybe you want to buy a TV to go with your new Blu-ray player. Depending on what type of industry you work in, it could go on and on. And my favorites in the music industry that you see a lot, hey, you want to add a meal to your concert? We also have yurts available, and there's air conditioning inside the tents, and women will rub sunblock all over your body. For extra $1,000, hey, why not? Make them happy. So if you're ever not sure whether your information is going to be creepy or not, just do the test. Will my customer actually benefit if I put this information in? If you can't actually answer and provide some type of value, leave it out. Some of the ways that you can ask, does it reveal something private? This lady here, her father's in assisted living, and for Christmas she got a gift basket from the mortuary. Dude, I know I was trying to provide solutions for all of them, but I don't do that. So don't have any insensitive material, no personally identifying information. Have you guys actually seen some of this interactive VR? You get to try on clothes when you go inside of the mall, and it'll take a picture of you. But then the next time that you walk by this interaction, it says, "Hey, Jackie, I know that you looked at this last time. Why don't you come inside? Look, we have your size." And it gets a little freaky. And when other people are watching this too, they did not need to know what size pants I wear. Keep all of that a secret. And yeah, don't follow people. So 3 ways to tell the perfect story. Oops. There are pictures missing. I got this from Pixar. I tried over and over again to try to do something new, to try and be creative. But the point of storytelling is to keep it as simple as possible. Simplify to where the characters cannot be confused. You already know what person A wants, what person B wants. There's no way for you to confuse the story. One of the great things about Disney is that a 3-year-old in the room can enjoy it, and so can the 90-year-olds in the room. It doesn't matter. There is no prerequisite. You don't have to understand how to read Excel. You don't have to know how the industry is doing or that the stock market crashed yesterday. It's all about telling a story of where your company could be in just a few years or even a few months if you're able to leverage some new tactics. Go in chronological order. Some of the things that we're going to start with today is we're actually going to help our graphic designer stop losing their files and save them 10 hours a week. We'll also be able to use a lot of the content that we've been using in the past, and we will have this done by next week. Because it's really easy to set up things like automatic file naming. Go for the small ones first while you set up the whole, like if you're doing ETLs or if you're at some companies where you have 200 different data sources, that's going to take a while for you to work through. So start giving them things, little feeders of information that shows that you guys are improving. It's the companies that are able to feed off upper management, that they're finding success. That's part of the 25% that says it's actually a success. It's not done, it's a success because we've already saved this much money. And you guys should be great at reporting. This should be easy to do. And connecting with human emotions. Again, you're not selling to a company. You really are selling to each individual. So if Jane wants to actually start working on graphic design, or she actually wants to move over to advertising, well, here are some ways that what you're doing in your group can help here, and you get them to start working together. Because the most important thing that you can do is actually start to unite the company. Everyone is siloed. It's your duty to use that data to bring everyone together, and that is going to be the hardest thing you do anywhere. I don't care what company you work for. And especially at smaller companies, and they actually said that companies with under 100 employees had a higher rate of success. So they had a 50% greater chance of being successful at that digital transformation. Why? Because you were able to give them one-to-one attention that they needed. You're able to measure everything, and you can actually do it at scale. You just have to have some planning to go with it. And other than Disney's ideas of the 3 ways to tell a story, there's 3 ways that I think are really good for selling a story. Again, you want to keep it simple. Leave all of the data that you had that gave you that epiphany or that idea to make this change in your company, and leave it on the appendix. Finance is going to check it, so you still need to make sure that it's added on there, but keep it simple. Your pitch should be just a few minutes long. If there are questions, answer them, move on. If it's super technical, well, how are you going to do this, bro? Consistently. That's all. They don't need to know about APIs or how we're going to also have to, get a data scientist to help us, or we need these specific tools. If that's not happening right now, it doesn't need to be told yet. Sell them the vision. How are you going to help them at their job? It's not everybody in the room or where the company wants to go or what you want to do. You want to make sure that you're steering your goals and selling them their vision and connecting emotionally. Same thing. But the way that you interpret it when you're actually telling a story and when you're selling can be a lot different. And that's it. I know it's long. Is there a happy hour next? Yes. Hey, so we'll be first in line. Any questions?
Thank you very much for the nice presentation. Here's a certificate of appreciation.
Oh, thank you.
And thank you for listening.
Who wants to help me break it in? Thank
Any
you.
questions?
Hi.
So I'm always wondering why, there's always that one statistic you focused on the slide. It's the 24% or the 76%. Why is one good, but more than one is not good?
They're not. I'm setting the stage. I want you guys to believe a certain thing. That's why I showed you that stat. Because I'm trying to prove everyone's going to say, oh, it's hard. Digital transformation is, a failure. So that's why I showed that stat.
Well, sure, but I think that's always the case. There's one number, one statistic works, but if it's a table, kind of forget about it.
Yes, you're absolutely right. No tables. I used to have a CMO who came from a Fortune top 50, and I noticed that every time I started talking, she just smiled and looked past me. And I realized she is not listening to anything I say. So one of the things that I used to put up there is 1 + 1 = 11. And I would say that this is what we need to spend. And no one caught it. So no one's really looking, unless it's going to affect them directly today. That's why you really need to connect with them through emotions. And I'm assuming that it is your actual initiative to help everyone there. They just don't need to know all of that data. And the people who, like you, are asking those good questions, it's in the appendix. You can check it all out. Hi. Yeah. If you're a really good salesman, I highly recommend it. Like I said, some people can close in 1 minute to 5. I kind of need pretty pictures. It helps me a lot, and it really depends on who your audience is, right? If you ever try to get a whole bunch of musicians to invest in data management so that you can actually help them find their audience, it is like talking to a wall. But if you actually know music theory and you know relational data or Java or SQL, you can actually see that everything relates exactly like music does. So at NAMM, I was actually telling musicians, so in the circle of fifths, you move from progression from each chord from C to G because you're finding that common tone. This is also known as the unique identifier. This is the common chord. This is what you're finding, the commonalities between these so that you don't have to say in the key of C and bore everyone to death. When you start talking to someone the way that they understand things, that's when you really start to find success. If I can make Kanye invest in data management, anyone can do it. Did that answer your question, kind of? Yeah? Any other questions?
Thanks.
Thank you. That was like 5 minutes.
You made Kanye get in data management?
Yes, and we were able to prove also that he was one of the first artists that made money off of Twitter, because instead of just spend $10,000 on your ad spend, okay, what if we only click on these people who's most likely to listen to your music, watch your video, or purchase? Of course, we're looking for the people who purchase. Since it's Kanye, finding that data set in millions and millions of viewers is, I got my microphone on. It's a lot easier at that scale.
Sure.
As I've gone private, doing it at small business.